you can live a life in flow where your deepest heart's desires become reality. At Set to Love, we offer strategies and ideas on how you can stay out of crazy town. See, your human experience is meant to be lived with meaning, purpose, and creativity. You are here to contribute through your essence. We are best friends, moms, entrepreneurs, and above all, find our flow in assisting you to find yours. We come together weekday mornings to bring you ideas to fall deeper in love with your life and the journey that you are on. Take what works and ditch the rest, and always stay set to love. Thank you for being a part of this community. We're all designed to live in flow. So let's go. You are not what you think you are, and you're not what others think of you. You are what you think others think you are. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Set to Love. I am Eva Payne here with my best friend, Shelly Garrett. Happy Christmas Eve, friend. How are you?
I'm doing good. Well, doing great. That was a mouthful, but so true.
I know. I had to read it. But I love the premise of it, talking about insecurities, where those come from, and how can we let those go so that we can have more flow in our life. It's a big topic, and I know we could spend hours talking about it, but we're going to just spend like 15 minutes talking about it.
I know that everyone has insecurities.
Absolutely.
You know, everybody needs to realize there's not one person that doesn't have insecurities. And I think it's unfortunate because we're not born and brought into this world with insecurities. This is a taught thing. And so I do know that we can change our perspective on how we look at our own insecurities. Mm-hmm. And hopefully maybe something we might say today might help someone to work on their self-love. Because I think the insecurities that we have is not good for our psyche. I think about the times I've wasted in my life of worrying about my insecurities and not even being present. Mm-hmm. You know, I've been somewhere where I'm worrying about, my weight, or are they thinking, wow, she's getting a little chubby these days, or, instead of just being present in the moment. And most of the time people are not thinking about, how you look. They're going to worry about what you say and how warm and loving you are. And when you're not present, then it robs you. I think of my own insecurities and how much time and energy and what a waste. And I really want to work on that, because now getting older and having, wrinkles and whatever my insecurities are, because they are there. But I just think about this. There's always something worse. I was listening to a guy, I love to listen to podcasts. So I was listening to a guy who was talking about helping people with insecurities. Mm-hmm. And a woman said, before they started, he said, do you want to watch this or do this on video chat, or do you want to just do it over the phone? And she said, no, I want to do it on video chat. And she gets on there and she's in a wheelchair and she has all of these things. And she said, I really want to have you help me to find somebody that will be more than just a friend, that they're going to be my mate and they're going to love me for who I am. And she said, all I think about is when people look at me, they think how much work I'm going to be. Wow. Because all I have is my voice that allows me to communicate with you, but everything else I need help. And I'm like, okay, a few pounds, I can change that. There's always someone worse. And mm-hmm. She's still trying, and she's so brave. And it almost made me feel ashamed of myself to think, wow, the time we waste.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think that it needs to be something that, we can't compare our insecurities to other people's insecurities, right? But also that it's that fear that we have within ourselves that I'm not good enough, or when I think about like writing the book, for example, I'll just give that as an example. I hated reading in class, hated it. And I know you're the same way. So I would like count how many people until like I had to read my paragraph in school.
I remember being a junior in high school, and my English teacher came to me and said, we really need to work on your grammar. Like where you put commas, you just have no concept. Like asked me to come in at lunch and work with her. My 7th grade teacher had me come in during recess and wanted to help me with spelling because I was just so off on my spelling. So even though I love writing and this whole experience, I have so many insecurities because they were rooted in these childhood moments that said, I wasn't good enough in English. I wasn't a good reader. I wasn't good at grammar. I wasn't good at spelling. So why do I think that I could write something that someone else would want to read and would find value in? So really, I think one of the biggest things that we can do for ourselves is recognizing that those are just past stories and seeing the fear and then walking straight into it and doing it anyway. Because the only way that we're going to get better at those things is by really facing them with a loving and open heart. So putting that book out or moving forward with that dream that you have or whatever it is that you want to do and doing it anyway, even though you're afraid and even though you have all these programming in your mind and you think, oh, I'm not good enough in whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish or that you want to do in your life.
I think a lot of times too, the things that we tell ourselves are just one big fat lie. Mm-hmm. And that, when you waste so much energy on that, you know what I'm saying? It's better and who you surround yourselves with. That's another thing, are you around people that build you up? Or if you were to stay around people telling you, you really need some commas and, right. Said that better. Or you have people saying, wow, this is amazing. It makes you want to do better. So I would say, what's the, people that you're around?
Are they building you up? Like are they? Julian's so good. I'll say some comment about like my appearance, for example, like the way I look or something. And he always, and it doesn't matter if I look like this or if I'm all dressed to the nines, which really hardly is ever, or if I'm just super grungy, it's you're beautiful. And it isn't, when he says it and he means it, then I start to feel a little bit more confident, even though confidence shouldn't come from someone else, but it does make me feel a little bit more confident because the people I surround myself with do build me up and do have those positive words. And then I can start to not feel so attached to having to look a certain way or show up a certain way because I realize I am beautiful just as I am, and I have things to offer this world. And this one TED Talk that we both watched, one of the things that really stood out to me was your applied work ethic. When we're talking about, confidence and insecurities when it comes to something that you want to achieve in your life. And she said, would you bet on yourself? Would you bet on yourself? I had a friend years ago when Emmy was little, and he said, if you could buy stock in people, I would buy stock in Emmy Payne, saying he would bet on her to succeed in life just because it's just who she was, like this go-getter, this I can accomplish anything personality. And would you bet on yourself? And when you can say yes to that because you said, you started that project or you work on it every day or you work on your self-confidence or you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, I am beautiful, wherever your insecurities are, when you can reprogram them and you can let the past stories go and really bet on yourself, then I think that builds confidence and that lets some of that insecurity go because you do have those small wins and that voice starts to change a little bit in your mind.
Well, I mean, I would have to say, even let's take the two of us and this program. Mm-hmm. I had insecurities because I don't have broadcasting. I don't articulate the same way that you do. And, I know we've said we're not talking about this anymore, but we are talking about it only because this is a great example of, confidence and insecurities because, although you have all these wonderful things that I see in you, what you help me to see is that I have so many things that to bring forward also. And it doesn't mean that if one person is a wonderful speaker and can articulate words and has background in all of these things, that some of these things I'm learning to get better as a speaker. Mm-hmm. And, you put in the work. If that's important to me, then I'll do better. But also what I bring to the table is being authentic and being loving and what I can give. And so I think we need to build those things up. And that's what gives me confidence in being on this show, is because one thing you may say will help someone, but maybe some action that I have and the way that I say it will help someone else. And so it's not just one way. So we don't need to. Wonderfully, I've never been jealous of you, which I'm super happy about, because I would admit that if I felt it. But I've never been jealous. Very envious of, your presence on camera and all of that. But I also feel like now I know I'm supposed to be here. I do make a difference, and I can be proud of that. And anything I don't like, I can change. Watch the video, and I don't like it, I can change it. Doesn't mean that I'm not great in my own way.
Well, and I think when we think about that in our relationships, whether it's with your partner, your best friend, your kids, it's really a lot of what I believe just at my core. I had this crazy idea one day that we're all given 100 puzzle pieces. Okay. So like before we come to Earth, this is just
You're so cute.
Philosophy, right? So before we come to Earth, we're all given like 100 puzzle pieces, or we get to have 100 puzzle pieces. So it's like a mall that we walk through, and one of them might be looks, one might be athleticism, one might be smarts, one might be leadership. I mean, who knows, right? The options of what you have, your attributes, but we all have 100. So you might put like 80 into athleticism and be them like winning gold medals, but then maybe you're not as outgoing, or maybe you don't have those leadership skills, or maybe you don't have some of the things other people have. So I really believe that we all have 100 puzzle pieces. And when we can recognize the beauty in other people and the gifts in other people, and like, you're not better or worse, we're even. We just have we have more pieces in other buckets than each other. But that's what makes it so beautiful. When you can look at your coworkers that way, when you can look at your kids that way, like they're all unique, they're all different, and recognize what we're good at, and recognize our strengths, and recognize our beauty and our talents and our gifts. And that's why I said to you, like, okay, no more saying you're not good enough for this podcast, because we bring different things to the table. And I think that's part of learning to deal with our insecurities and learning to build confidence, is having people in our lives who do point out and do remind us that we have value. And if you don't have those kind of people in your life, then make that a goal for 2021, is to really find people who value you and the things that you value, who can, you might have people in your life that you say, I want to do this dream. And they might say, oh, that's not, you can't do that. Well, then find someone in your life who's going to say, yeah, I think you can, and who's going to be your cheerleader and going to support you. Because if you have too many people who are saying, no, you can't, that's going to build the insecurity. But if you just have one person, hence the power of belief, the other show that we've done before, having just one person to believe in you helps those insecurities go away.
And beautifully said. And I think, where do you put your focus on? Don't focus on the negative, focus on the positive. And it goes a lot further, because, I think back when I went to a women's retreat and I was one of the speakers, and I thought, why am I going to be a speaker? But I pretty much told my testimony, and I was so scared, and I was so afraid of judgment, and I don't, what am I going to say? And then as I got up there and I spoke, it just kind of naturally came out, and I just was myself. And, I had so many people, I was so scared of what people were going to think. And after that, facing that fear and going through that, people heard different things. Oh, I'm dyslexic too. And, oh, I'm so happy you shared that. And, you never really realize what you have to say, who it might help. And there's always going to be somebody better, and there's always going to be someone, and you're going to be better than someone in something else. That's why comparison is really not a good thing. Just focus on the good and realize we're missing out on so much.
Especially when you're focusing on those insecurities and the things that don't serve you. What another great episode, my friend. I love you. I feel like we could just go on and on about so many of these topics, but it's such a great way to just have that morning cup of coffee, learn something new, maybe pick up one piece, one tip that you've heard today or on another show and implement it into your life, because this is how we find flow. And that's what our goal is for everyone. We want you to live in flow. And we are here weekday mornings for you. Set to Love. You can find us online, settolove.com. We are on YouTube every morning. We're on Facebook every morning, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We love you. Happy Christmas Eve, everyone. We're gonna have a show tomorrow on Christmas Day. We are going to record it today, but it will still be amazing. So if you tune in tomorrow at 8:30, you will be able to see us, and we will be here for you, because that's what we do. That's our commitment to you. So I love you so much, friend. Thank you.
Love you too.
And
happy holidays.
A great Christmas Eve.